Good morning! It is I, the Phantom. Today I bring you a top 5 list of phobias. These are not in order of severity, however, as I believe that one cannot truly judge a single phobia over another. I feel that fear is quite subjective. I don't suffer from any of these specified phobias, so I feel I have no right to make any out to be more or less severe. Coulrophobia. Coulrophobia is defined as an irrational fear of clowns. It is believed that the reasoning behind this phobia is a combination of many things. The most prominent seems to be the use of disguise, an amalgamation between makeup, wigs, ridiculous clothing, and oversized comical accessories, not to mention their over-exaggerated behaviors and mannerisms. This complete package, if looked at through the eyes of the cautious, can create fear of the unknown. Not being able to identify the person before you can be quite unnerving, even for those not wearing such a dramatic costume. When one can't recognize distinguishing features, race, gender, and even face shape, it leaves an uneasy feeling of second-guessing the true identity of the colourful character parading around the room. Could it be a serial killer? An escapee? Child molester? That nosy neighbour you hate comes to snoop about your house? An ex? The possibilities are limitless, yet you will never know. This phobia is clearly not the oldest. It is only as old as the clown itself. However, it seems that during recent times, the fear amongst people has grown. It is said that the 90s really kicked off the downward spiral, thanks to the hit Stephen King film, It. During the last decade, the clown has become an even more frightening concept, with the increase of killer clown pranks, costumes, and movies. Like with all phobias, this can be debilitating in ways that those who don't suffer can't truly understand. There are clowns and clown imagery dotted all over the place that usually wouldn't even receive a second glance. Think of popular fast food restaurants, the badly painted cartoons on hospital walls, the bold daubings on the side of ice cream vans, food product mascots, advertisements, parties, children's TV shows. These painted smiles are everywhere and can sincerely cause moments of terror in the sufferer and panic attack symptoms. That which was meant to bring us joy and laughter can quite often incite the total opposite effect. Pediophobia. This is an irrational fear of dolls, stemming from a condition called automaton phobia. That is an irrational fear of human-like objects, such as mannequins, puppets, robots, etc. The name pediophobia actually finds its origins in the Greek word, now forgive me for pronouncing it wrong, paidion, meaning small children. Those suffering from this phobia are not restricted to dolls but can also fear little children. There are many causes for the development of this condition. One being, seems to be the most common amongst the development of phobias, that being a result of a traumatic event during childhood involving the subject matter. There is also the cold, dead, staring eyes that a lot of dolls pertain that can strike a sense of unease into the viewer. The fixed expression also adds to this. Another possibility is the use of voodoo dolls in witchcraft and voodoo, which can be seen in a negative light. There is also the frequent use of dolls in horror movies, and they have become quite popular, as the possessed dolls have come to light recently, like Robert and Annabelle. This phobia usually begins in early childhood, and the sufferer tends to grow out of it by the time they're adults. However, it can also transfer and carry on to the day of the individual's death. This is especially difficult for those who have contact with children, as dolls seem to be one of the most popular toys amongst them. Like with clowns, the image of the doll can be found in many places. Fast food icons, food brands, toy shops, adverts and movies, I can imagine Christmas must be a particularly difficult time. Coulrophobia, an irrational fear of Halloween. There isn't any specific scientific fact for the cause of this phobia. However, it is speculated that many factors contribute, such as religious indoctrination. Due to specific teachings of certain faiths, many are raised to believe the day be one of evil. These types have been known to seek out religious leaders for support on this day. Another reason an individual can fear Halloween is the depiction of monsters, ghosts, witches, and other thought-to-be spooky characters. This could also link back to the same fear that strikes those who suffer from coulrophobia. The concept seems similar in the fact that the identity of the mask wearer is hidden. The release of specific horror movies could also be a factor in the origins of this fear, causing paranoia and stigmatizing the event. For most, this day is one that is filled with harmless fun and excitement. It's also my favorite day of the year. But for others, it is one filled with unimaginable terror, causing the sufferer to hide in their homes with the curtains tightly closed. Coulrophobia. This is an irrational fear of mirrors. Those suffering this phobia generally fear looking into, breaking, or seeing something that shouldn't be there in mirrors. There are a few that also fear being dragged into a mirror, into another world. The science behind this one is not definitive, but is believed to be caused by a few things. One being the image reflected back in the darkness of one's face can be quite distorted due to irregular shadows and highlights. Sometimes an individual reports seeing something monstrous or demonic looking peering back at them. It is not always the reflection within the mirror that worries some people. Others have a fear of breaking a mirror and the associated 7 years bad luck that is suspected to follow. This is a large superstition that has no scientific evidence behind it. Yet let's not forget that a phobia is an irrational fear of something and doesn't need science to back it up. Wicca. This is an irrational fear of witches or witchcraft. To understand this phobia is to take a look back in time to the witch trials. Due to mass hysteria and overbearing religious indoctrination, innocent people were brutally and horrifically tortured and murdered for a crime that only existed in the fearful minds of the uneducated. It is speculated that this is the early form of Wicca. In modern society, I like to believe that we are less barbaric than our ancestors, and in a lot of countries, pagans and witches, etc., are allowed to live with religious freedom, and rightfully so. There are still some countries, however, that carry out these atrocities, and every day, innocent lives are being cut down because of this phobia. Of course, not everyone who suffers from this phobia will go in to harm someone that they believe is a witch. In fact, that is a very small percentage of individuals who haven't learnt right from wrong. This phobia can manifest itself in other ways too. The individual may suffer from extreme panic and terror, profuse sweating, and anything else you can associate with fear, trauma, and anxiety. Movies, much like a lot of phobias, have been a cause to heighten these fearful afflictions, and those suffering find certain times of the year quite difficult, mainly Halloween. They may not suffer from the above Coulrophobia, but due to the Wicca phobia, it may develop over time. Please remember, if you do have a phobia, please see your GP. If you are suffering from a condition that gets in the way of you living a normal life, then your doctor is the best person to talk to. There are no quick fixes, but they can certainly help you get in touch with the right people. That's it for today. Thank you for putting up with me, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!